All right, everybody. Hello. Welcome to today's workshop. My name is Laura. I'm going to be on here helping Heather with answering your questions and kind of keeping track of where we are with your questions. You can put in your questions in the chat or the Q&A. Heather pauses occasionally in order to answer questions. You will also receive from me an email later today that will have our local information. So if you want to request a mentor, but it will also include the video to this, as well as the slides of the presentation. So with that, Heather, I will hand it off to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Laura. I appreciate it. And thanks for everyone being here. I know that for most of us, LinkedIn is not our favorite social media platform, but honestly, for me, it's one of my top two. LinkedIn and my Google Business profile are my favorites. Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all of the other things are great. But LinkedIn is fantastic, especially for those of us that are in B2B fields. So, first, I want to thank Laura for being an awesome proctor. She is always so good about letting me know when there are questions, and sometimes I'll stop because I can see the numbers of the chat moving, but I can't see the actual questions because I have the presentation up. So, thank you for that. If you have not yet gotten involved with SCORE, on a more intimate basis, make sure that you check it out. Find out more about getting a mentor, especially one that specializes in the information that you would like to see for your small business. It's an awesome program, and you should check it out. So make sure you visit the local akron.score.org page and check it out. And without further ado, first I want to let you guys know everything we talk about today, because I get a lot of questions about this, is non-paid LinkedIn info, meaning you do not have to be a LinkedIn premium member. It is not LinkedIn ads. This is LinkedIn for your small business that is free, but then in a minute we're going to talk about how it's not free. Okay, so let's start there. I like to set the tone for every presentation by telling people what social media isn't, because sometimes we don't know how to set that expectation, right? So first of all, I'm going to negate everything I just told you and let you know that social media is not free. And that doesn't mean when you're doing paid ads, that means all the time. Because as business owners, as business professionals, our time is worth something, right? So whether we are the ones who are putting together our entire social media planning, if we're doing all of the implementation, it's not free because it's taking our time. So just like with everything else in life, right? We're either going to invest time or we're going to invest money. And so many of us are, smaller startup companies that what we have at the beginning is more time than money. We have that free time to get in, learn the ropes, tackle, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, create all of the platforms and do the implementation. As we get busier, we have to put those things on the back burner, which means we need to delegate those to others. So that's when we start spending the money. So you can work with someone on staff. You can hire someone from outside, which is what I do for clients. You can do all of those things to make sure that your social media marketing is getting done properly. Just know you're going to either invest time or money to do that. Social media is not a flash in the pan. LinkedIn turned 22 years old in 2025. It's not going anywhere. It will change, and it will change on the regular. So just about the time you learn where all the bells and whistles and levers are to make it go, it will likely change. I have had it change the very day that I have done a LinkedIn presentation, and so I've had to jump on and change all of the graphics. But please know it's not going anywhere. Social media by and large is not going anywhere. We will see changes, we will see new platforms, we may see some fade away, but I promise you, social media marketing is not in danger of going anywhere. So please don't feel like, ugh, it's one more thing I need to learn. As soon as I learn it, they're going to get rid of it. We've all been through, at least I will say a lot of us have been through I have an album and now I have a CD and now I have a cassette and now I have streaming. And why did I have all of these things? Social media is not like that, right? It is not going anywhere. So don't feel like it's a waste of your time to learn these things. Next, your social media marketing is never going to be a replacement for your sales team. And that's even if the sales team is you. right? We all have to have those boots on the ground people who are out talking with prospective clients, answering questions, engaging, that sort of thing. Social media is just another tool for them to do all of these things, right? Helps you get found. It helps increase your SEO. It will help your sales team, I promise you, to have a polished and professional looking LinkedIn profile so that when people do meet them out and about, I know many of us have our sales team out networking and, pressing the flesh and shaking the hands and all that thing. Social media and particularly LinkedIn will give them a very professional place to keep all of those contacts. So just know we're not going to get rid of Joe, the sales guy, just because we started doing social media marketing. It's just another cog in the wheel of all things social media. And to that end, though it always pains me to say this out loud, social media is not your entire marketing strategy, right? We have all of the other things that we need to do and all of the other plates that we need to keep spinning to stay out in front of our prospective target market, right? Social media is one of them. But if you have a group that caters to seniors or you a nonprofit that caters to small children, guess what? Those people aren't necessarily on social media. You may find them another way. If you are looking to connect with kids and parents, maybe it's, you're sponsoring a sports team. If you are B2B and you are focusing on business owners, maybe you've joined a chamber of commerce. Maybe you've joined a professional organization that is, wrapped around networking. All of those things. People still do print advertising. We're still buying promotional products. Social media is just one more of the things that we need to do to be effective and to keep our organization's mission, product, service out in front of the eyeballs that need to see it. So now that we've set the expectation, let's talk a little bit about LinkedIn in particular. So here are some stats you should know about LinkedIn. As I shared earlier, it turned 22 in 2025. It's not going anywhere, and it is seen, and we'll talk about this too, as the most professional social media platform out there, which makes it the most trusted social media network in the United States. People know that we're not on LinkedIn posting things like quizzes about what kind of potato am I or what we had for dinner last night. This is definitely geared more toward putting out those professional posts that will establish us as the person in the field that we are in. I want people, when they come across my LinkedIn profile or all of my content, to feel like, wow, that Heather, she knows something about social media. Yeah, that's the whole point of pushing out all of the free information that I provide to people who can actually take some of the steps and do some of these tasks for themselves, right? I want to be seen as the professional that offers the service that I do. And this is a great place to do that. LinkedIn has 1 billion members. The beautiful thing is only 3% of those users are active on LinkedIn every week. So a lot of times when I do LinkedIn training, I will train people one-on-one on let's get your profile squared away and make sure it's working for you, like that billboard that's up 24/7 and getting you in front of the right clientele. But also when we're talking about content, we need to be active, right? We have to push something out for people to keep seeing us in their feed. So only 3 million people are active on LinkedIn every week. And that means, posting, answering, commenting, whatever that looks like. So if you are doing those things, you are in a very awesome and comfortable minority that will see the most benefit for their time spent on LinkedIn for sure. 40% of LinkedIn users change their job, company, or industry every 4 years. It didn't used to be this way, right? Somebody would go to work for a big conglomerate and they would stay there for 35 years and conceivably, retire from there. We're not seeing that now, especially with the generations that are coming up behind me. I'm Gen X, watch out, I'm Gen X. I fall kind of somewhere in the middle. My parents went to jobs and stayed until it was time to retire. I have had a handful of full-time jobs since I started in the workforce. And my son has changed jobs regularly and always it's never a lateral move, right? He is improving himself with every move. And I don't think that necessarily the generation behind us is wrong for doing that. But just know when people move, they're in our network, we still need to keep track of where they are. LinkedIn is an awesome way to do that. Some of you, I'm sure, are old enough to remember the old paper Rolodexes or the address book or whatever we had to keep track of where our particular network of people in the business workforce were. LinkedIn is that. It is an electronic Rolodex, but it is so much more. And it's even proactive enough that when people change their jobs, that will show up in your feed and you can see, oh, so and so went to this company. And guess what? That might be a better fit for your company than the company they were at before. So why not reach out and say, hey, congratulations. Once you get settled, I would love to meet with you, whatever that looks like. But just so you know, LinkedIn is a great way to find out where these people are making changes, what company they're with now, and see, what role they're in, which is a tremendous help when we're trying to build those inroads into companies in which we've never had an in before. So just something to keep track of. Content creation on LinkedIn increased 60% in 2020. And why? Because we were in lockdown, right? We couldn't go out and do like we used to do. There was none of that handshaking and networking. There were no outside programs and going to ball games so that people could see our sponsorships. Content creation went up because we all went online. And I often shamefacedly share with people, my business exploded when we went into COVID because I'm online. Everybody had to go there, right? I had to help people learn how to pivot and change how they were doing their marketing. So the interesting thing is content creation has not gone back down since we've made the move. So those who have gotten better at using the tool of LinkedIn are still continuing to see the ROI on spending that time there. So I just thought that was an interesting stat. We hate talking about COVID all the time, but this was an actual positive that came out of that whole pandemic. And lastly, 4 out of 5 people on LinkedIn drive business decisions. For most of us, if we are selling business to business as opposed to business to consumer, and by the way, consumers are still in this group, right? We want the people who are actually able to make the buying decision. This is the platform that they're on. Not to say that they are not on others, but also know this, when they're on LinkedIn, they have their business cap on. So it's not even just where they are, but kind of what mindset they are in when they are on a particular platform. So just a couple of stats there. Now we're going to talk about a LinkedIn profile. Probably not one of the sexiest portions of the show, but you really do need to know where and how to update your profile to make it work more effectively for you. Okay, so we're going to use mine. I haven't updated the slide in a while, so the numbers may not be exact, but you'll get a good visual. So you always need to make sure you have a polished and professional looking headline or copy for on the top of your page, the cover art, right? I'm going to show you a tool at the end that if you're not familiar with it, you can go right in there and create this for yourself. It's fantastic. Make sure your picture is up to date. Make sure you look like you, right? So if you are talking back and forth with somebody on LinkedIn and setting up an in-person meeting, meaning not on Zoom, and they have to find you at a coffee shop, your picture looks enough like you that if they've gone in and looked at your profile, they can find you. That's how new it should be. Never more than 18 months old. This needs constantly updated. We all know a photographer, right? We almost all know one that does LinkedIn headshots. If you're in the Akron area and you do not know one, please let me know. I have a handful that I can send you to that you can choose from. But always make sure that your profile pic is professional. You didn't crop yourself out of a family photo and you're wearing a Leonard Skinner t-shirt. It needs to be a professionally done photo. Doesn't mean it has to be taken by an official photographer, but have a friend take it and have you can see my background on my photo is very clean behind me. So you can see me as the center of the photo. It also should never in any circumstance be your logo. In your personal profile, you are the star. Your business is not. That's why we have company pages. On that page, the company is in the spotlight. For this one, it's you, and I will tell you, with 1 billion users, people are connecting with people on LinkedIn, not companies. And I get the question a lot too, should I not have a company page? You absolutely should, and we'll talk about why, but you need to make sure that your go-to piece and resource on LinkedIn is your personal profile. I promise you, by design. You will never have more followers on your company page than you do on your personal profile if you are doing all of the things correctly. So just bear in mind, this needs to be as professional looking as your company page. I always feel silly saying this, except for there's a reason. Make sure your name is spelled correctly. I have seen several people that have their actual own name spelled incorrectly because in our minds, we know what it's supposed to say, right? So we may not be proofing that particular piece. I was a proofreader for, in a previous career, which has helped me doing social media. But I will tell you, I've seen it more than a handful of times, which is why I share the info. Now, I'm going to point this out, and this is funny. Make sure your headline tells people how you help them. It should not just be a bunch of your title. I am Heather Taylor. You notice it does not say boss lady and social media chick with Glitter Girl Media, because that means nothing to someone who doesn't know me. This tells people what I do. I'm a social media marketing strategist. I can help with these things. I actually, a while ago, and I do need to update this because I took it off, I put the word rapper in there to see if anybody actually reads the headline. And I had a $100 gift card for anyone who said, "Are you really a rapper?" Like, called it to my attention. I had that offer out for a year, and I thought, "Oh, I'm spending the gift card." It was just a test. After that, I have a former client who sends people to my to my LinkedIn profile to show them how one should be set up. And one of her students, a high school student, said, "Is she really a rapper?" So she reached out to me and said, "Are you a rapper?" And I said, "No, but who saw it on my LinkedIn?" And she told me it was one of her students. I thought it was great. Just goes to show people do really read your headlines. This is prime real estate. Putting your title here is doing nothing but wasting valuable space where people need to see how you help them. The only information that your headline should offer is how you help people who come across your headline. So bear that in mind. You will see the number of followers you have, how many connections people have. So there's tons of information. And over on the right-hand side, you will see other similar profiles. This can be people that are in the same line of work as you, people who are looked at when they're in the same arena as you. So just a great way to get an overview about what you're going to see on your actual profile. Your About section can be up to 2,600 spaces and characters, right? So how many spaces and characters should you use to write your About section? As close to 2,600 as you can. This is the place where we start packing information about who we are as a person, what kinds of areas of expertise we have, the things that we can help people with, and those all important keywords and search terms that people are looking for when they're looking for people who do what you do. And I always, without fail, make sure that my contact information is right here at the bottom, because sometimes, I don't know if you guys have noticed it, when you go and try and find contact info on LinkedIn, it is either a personal email, not a business one. It is incomplete. Somebody has not put something there. I always make sure in any kind of marketing that I'm putting together that I make it as easy and seamless as I can for someone to contact me. Whether that be just to ask me a question, whether it's they want to learn more about my services, whether they want to start network in the area, whatever that looks like, I make it as easy for my network to reach me as they possibly can. Sure, they can message me, but some people prefer to message outside of LinkedIn proper. So always save enough characters and spaces to put your contact info here. Here's what your activity looks like. You can see, how many followers, you can see what kinds of posts that you've put out there, how long ago it was. So if you're, doing research on somebody, you can see the kinds of content that they keep putting out, right? And at the bottom of activity section, I can click on show all posts and it will take me to whoever's, profile I'm looking at, all of the posts that they've done within the last, certain amount of time. So just a heads up there. It'll also tell me if they haven't posted anything, which I find interesting too. So just a heads up there. Laura, did we have any questions? Are we good?
There is. Someone set up my company LinkedIn profile a few years ago, but we can't access it and can't get a hold of anyone at LinkedIn to help. Any thoughts?
So what you can do is actually set up, and it's going to sound awful, set up a new profile, get it populated. You can actually reach LinkedIn sometimes via email. If you have an issue, you'll have to look that up. There is a link, just, LinkedIn help email. And you can tell them, hey, this is my old, profile. I need to merge it with my new one. And generally they can do that for you. It takes some doing. It used to be very, very simple to get a hold of someone on LinkedIn. One of the bad things that came with the pandemic is everyone's working from home and they're not as diligently online as they used to be. So I know it can be stressful. There's never going to be a way that you get access to that account directly unless somebody has the login. So you need to set up a new one. And I know no one wants to hear that answer, but it's the truth. So,
The other question was, did I hear you say not to have the logo on the headline? Maybe I missed it.
no. You can have the logo in the header or the cover art, but it cannot be where your photo should be. That should be a picture of you and nothing else. That should be a professional headshot, never ever a logo, because this is your personal profile, right? So they are connecting to the person, not the company.
All right, we're all caught up.
Awesome. Okay. So then we're in experience, right? And it will show your latest position. It will show you ones that you are either doing now, but are not your go-to, things like that. So make sure you're putting in all of the experience that would be relevant to anyone looking at your profile. I will tell you, maybe somebody doesn't need me for social media, but maybe they're interested in the fact that I have a women's networking group that I'm a part of, and maybe that's the way they connect with me. For me, I'm good with either, because what I'm looking to do on LinkedIn is always be growing my network with quality people. And for whatever reason, if it resonates with them, I love it, right? I don't care what resonates with them. I have seen people get jobs through LinkedIn just from posting experience and even volunteer gigs. So just be mindful. You never know what someone's going to see in your profile that resonates with them. So always make sure to fill out everything in your profile in its entirety. Education, licenses, volunteering. I even put my Honduras, I was a realtor for, if you can see me pushing my fingers together this long, but I put it on there. I will tell you, most people who do what I do have not been through Digital Marketing Institute or the American Marketing Association's PCM and CDMP certifications, because they're awfully hard. So yes, I was proud to put those on there. It may not mean anything to anyone outside of people who are familiar with those things, but it lets people know, hey, she's not the gal who's just in her mom's basement building websites, right? First, I don't do any websites. Secondly, it lets them know that I am certified as a professional certified marketer in digital marketing. So anything that you've got licensure in, put in there, because again, you just never know what's going to resonate with a potential client. And then your volunteerism. You just never know. Like, I've been past president of the chamber board here in Fairlawn. It's fabulous. I put in there, I've been with Stewart's Caring Place. You never know if people want to get more involved with that. It's also wonderful if you can help share the mission and vision. Like, I try to do that for SCORE as often as I can, because I believe in the program. It costs people nothing to engage, or very, very little for some of the webinars. So I'm always to help put volunteering, always willing to put my volunteerism here, just in case people need led to, possibly a local nonprofit for which they can make a difference as well. Skills and endorsements. Now, lots of people will give you endorsements, but getting a skills quiz and getting it taken and passing it is very, very difficult. So if you see someone who has actually taken a skills test and passed it, please know that they know that stuff inside and out, because they're very difficult to take and pass. So you can have, see what skills quizzes they have available here. And then you can see on someone's profile what they have been endorsed by and by how many people. It only goes up to 99 plus. So I can tell you I have hundreds of endorsements for marketing, but it's only ever going to show that 99 plus. Like when we get our connections, it only shows 500 plus. It never shows more than that. Followers will show more than that, but your connections will not. So just bear in mind, if you see somebody that has 99 plus, that's the max that they can get in that particular endorsement topic. Okay. You can go in here and see the entire list of them, of their skills. and their endorsements. So just be mindful there. And then you can see their recommendations, right? You can see who has made the recommendation, that these are the ones that are received. Here are the ones, if I wanted to see how many they had given, I can click on that one. I can see who has given them the recommendation, and I can see all of the recommendations that they've received. So you just never know. If you don't have familiarity with someone and you're wondering what it's like to work with them, this is a great place to go. It's basically the LinkedIn equivalent of their Google reviews, right? So just a heads up there. And then if you want to give a recommendation to someone on their page, you just click on that little plus, okay? And then you can leave them a recommendation. Interests. I always go and check this out because, again, lots of times it will give you even footing, right? So on mine, you can see that I always follow Gary Vee. If you're in marketing, you've probably checked out Gary Vee, right? People love Brene Brown. Just go find out what those prospects of yours are interested in. It never hurts to have that info in your back pocket. I put this in this presentation just because when it is sent to you by my friend Laura here later today, you will have all these character limits and you will know just how long things should and can be. So this is just for your record. You will get this in the presentation. If you ever have a question or if you can't find your presentation, I encourage all of you, please connect with me on LinkedIn. You're here because you want to learn it. You can practice on me. So go in and make sure that you ask for a connection. And I also, just so you know, put all of my free webinars on there. So if you are on my LinkedIn, if we're friends on LinkedIn, you will see that and you can attend more free stuff. So make sure that you do that. Now, all of these things are great and we can have a great looking profile, but how do we actually use these profiles now to build our business with LinkedIn, right? So here are 4 different ways. You're going to find all of your connections and your targeted clients alike, right? The targeting on LinkedIn is awesome. It is much easier to manipulate than Facebook and Instagram, definitely easier than TikTok. On here, you are going to connect with all of your business professionals in your network and target your next set of great clients by finding those folks that are maybe already on your radar, okay? So you want to get connected. Post valuable content. This is definitely never going to be the platform for you to just throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. You need to be posting professional, valuable, creative content to show people that you know how to help them solve a problem, how to do their job better, easier, and to establish yourself as a thought leader in your particular business vertical. This is the place to do it. So you become a resource for your network, right? Join groups and leverage them. I get lots of questions on why should I belong to a group? If I'm not going to be in there posting all the time, why should I be in there? We're going to talk about that when we get to this section because each one of these we talk about a little more in depth, but I will tell you, you're going to love groups. So you're going to want to be active on there. And this is the biggest one because this is the easiest one to absolutely overlook. Set time aside to work on your LinkedIn profile. I would say every week. Again, we talked about that, right? Only 3% of everyone on LinkedIn is active in their profile every week. Block out time on your calendar. I'm not telling you how much time because we all have a different amount of time available to us, right? If you only have an hour a week to be on here, only be on here an hour a week, but make sure that you block that time out on your calendar and that you stick to that just like you would a business appointment on your calendar. I promise you, this is an extremely important business appointment you have with yourself. Okay, so just make sure that you are prepared and that you're setting aside time to actually work on your LinkedIn profile. So finding connections and targeted clients, right? We all have that stack of business cards probably, right? Or those email addresses that we've used in the past. Go through that stack of cards on your desk and find those individuals on LinkedIn. Hopefully they have a profile. Most business professionals understand that being on LinkedIn is part of the cost of doing business anymore. I will tell you, I always wonder when I go on here and I try and make a connection with someone with whom I'm looking at either doing business, giving referrals, whatever, you can fill in that blank. If they don't have a profile, I do wonder to myself, wow, are they really a professional? Like, that is my question. I always wonder that. So just know, sometimes just by not being on LinkedIn, you can make an impression. It's not necessarily a great one, okay? Ask your current connections for introductions to targeted clients. You get to see if they are a connection to someone that you would like to know. You can always ask for an introduction. Now, here's the caveat to that. Sometimes, like me, I am connected. Like if you guys were all to jump on and friend me on LinkedIn right now and ask for a connection, I don't necessarily know you yet. Doesn't mean I don't want to get to know you. Just means we haven't done that dance yet. So if someone asks me for an introduction to someone that they're targeting, I will just be boldly honest with them. Hey, I'm happy to make an introduction because I know the both of you, but I don't know them really well. So me reaching out may not even be like a warm ask because they don't know me yet, right? Now, if they've attended one of my webinars, they know that I know some stuff, they comment on my stuff, at least we're interacting, it definitely would be easier. And all of these things are better than just sending an email. Okay, so if someone asks you to make that introduction on LinkedIn and you just don't know the person well, just be honest with them. Okay, they still may say that's okay. And then you can just make a short introduction. It doesn't need to be long, and it wouldn't be because you don't have familiarity with that person. But just a heads up there. And then last, you can learn to use the search function on LinkedIn. It is very, very vibrant. You can search for targeted individuals by the categories, including their names, the companies they're with, groups they're in, their posts. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Their search tool is one of the best. So just learn, get in there and poke around. If you're setting aside that hour a week, maybe sometimes just take that hour and poke around on the search function. Learn how to use that. I promise you, it's worth the time investment. Here's your LinkedIn profile where you can manage your own network. So you have connections and you have contacts. And a lot of times I get the question, what's the difference? Connections are all of the people with whom you are a first level connection on LinkedIn. Contacts are the people with whom you have either sent a message or you have touched base with them in some way on LinkedIn. So think contacts means you've actually had contact with that person. Connections just means they're in your network. Okay. Here's how many groups you belong to, that sort of thing. So you can always look at that piece. It's fabulous. Posting valuable content. All of the content that you post on LinkedIn should establish you as an expert in your field. I will say the only exception to that would be establishing your corporate vibe. You can do that as well. But you're going to want to create and share quality posts from your personal profile as well as on your company page and in the groups that we're going to talk about here in a minute. Post consistently. I need to update this slide. I need to make a note. Over 722 million users on LinkedIn. There's actually over 1 billion now. You can see how long that we've been talking about LinkedIn. The scroll can move really quickly. If you only have 10 connections on LinkedIn, your scroll's probably not going to move super fast. But if you have over 6,000, you're never going to conceivably see all of the content in your feed. There's no way, right? That's just a lot of stuff. So you need to post regularly to give yourself the most possible at-bats you have to make connection with your prospective target audience. I will tell you a lot of times I do a, we'll talk about Canva in a little bit, but I offer a Canva training. And sometimes I have just a real quick free seminar that I do. And sometimes I sit down with the person and I train them one-on-one, whether it be via Zoom, in person, whatever that looks like. Whenever I post that I do that, someone reaches out to me. And so I make sure I put it out there. Not only does it establish me as a professional in my field, I'm also posting consistently and I'm giving them content that lets them know exactly what I offer. And then here it is, post professionally. Not the place for funny cat videos, not those fun quizzes that you see on Facebook. This is a highly professional social media site and it should be posted to accordingly. These are the same types of posts that you will do on your Google business profile. It's not the funny haha stuff, right? It is to establish you as that expert. Here's what a LinkedIn post looks like. Did you know you can actually and should tag businesses on LinkedIn if you're posting about something to do with them? I always tag Google if I'm talking about your Google business profile. I actually tagged Canva one time. I believe I had achieved my 6,000th, boy, that one's hard to say, design on Canva. And they send you a little certificate. Well, I'm all about getting those little certificates. I'm that kid that collected scratch and sniff stickers back in the day. I actually still do. So when they gave me my certificate, I shared it on my LinkedIn and tagged them. I gained 127 followers just from tagging them in a post, and they responded to my post, which means everyone who follows Canva had the availability of seeing what I was talking about. It was fabulous. So make sure that you're tagging and make sure that you are using hashtags, not a million of them. You can post up to 30. Listen to me when I tell you, don't use 30. And I always put a line of space between my copy and the hashtags, because if not, it can look completely overwhelming to someone trying to read your content. So just a heads up there. These are indexed on LinkedIn, which means you can actually go in and search by hashtag. Okay. What is a hashtag? Laura, are there any questions I need to answer before we get into what's a hashtag?
Are posts automatically shared in groups, or do we have to manually share them?
You have to manually share them. Yeah, so I'm a member of 30 some groups. To post them in any one of those, I actually have to go in and physically do that. I hope that helps answer the question. I only ask that it.
Yes, that's it.
Perfect. I also just needed a sip of some water, so I just was taking a little break. So we'll talk about what a hashtag is really quick. Some of you already know and are using them very effectively. Some of them are like, I've seen them. That's a pound sign. What are we talking about, right? So I'm going to explain it to you like I'm going to explain it to my mother who asked me what they are. Hashtags connect social media content to a specific topic, event, theme, or conversation. They are file folders. So if I want to look up and see every post that has hashtag Glitter Girl Media in it, all I have to do is type that in and it will show me all of the content that contains that particular hashtag. So it's just a file folder holding all of the content that has that particular hashtag in it. Okay. So for example, if I want to look up hashtag social media marketing, 364,000 people are currently posting about this. Great. I'm one of them. So someone would have the availability to see my post just because I used that particular hashtag if they were going in and looking at all of that content. I promise you they're not looking at all of it, but you never know when they will run across your copy, right? So why use them? We're going to gain followers. Like I say, if somebody is laying eyeballs on you or your particular account that wouldn't have otherwise, you may gain some new followers. Increase your engagement. You know, if you have put out an engagement post, meaning you're asking a question, you have a poll, whatever that looks like, they may answer it because they've now come across you because of the hashtags you've used. Show support for social issues. There are lots of social issue hashtags that I know you're familiar with. Hashtag Me Too, hashtag Thin Blue Line, hashtag Pride. This will help show, especially now, only do this if you want your corporate image to include whatever that particular social issue is. Because please know this, we all know all we have to do is turn on the TV and find out just how divisive taking a stance on anything could be right now. I've seen people post on Facebook, I'm going to start a fight, and they just put, this is a stick, and it was a picture of a stick. Well, people chimed in and we all thought it was a funny haha. That's not a stick, that's a limb. No, it's not. It's a Frosty the Snowman arm. No, it isn't. It's a. So we know how controversial things can be, even when they're not controversial. So just be aware. If you're trying to show support for a particular topic, just make sure it aligns with your particular company's corporate stance on whatever that issue is. Okay, I don't want anybody to step in it. I don't want you to necessarily cut out half of your target audience, because that's exactly what could happen. But if you're okay with that, I will tell you this, and I'll be boldly honest with you. If I posted a hashtag that said, please don't abuse animals, and I had a prospect that didn't agree with that sentiment, guess what? I'm okay with losing them as a client. I'll be honest with you. That's a fact. If you think it's okay to abuse animals, maybe you're just not somebody I want to do business with, and that's okay. That's one of the rights and privileges we have as a business owner, is to kind of decide who we want to do business with. If you like to, hurt little kittens, you're probably not for me, right? Because I'm a fan. So just a heads up, please know what you're doing when you take any kind of a stance on a social issue. Add context to a post. I always give this example because it's an easy one, because all it is context. I was walking through my home one day, tripped over nothing on a Monday morning and spilled my coffee all over the floor. I'm pretty clumsy, so this isn't new. But you know me, I'm in social media, so pics or it never happened. So I took a picture of it, posted it on Facebook, and said, yeah, sure looks like I got a case of the Mondays over here. Hashtag bad hair day. Everybody knows I'm not talking about actually having a bad hair day. I only put that hashtag for reference as a context to the post. They knew what sentiment I was trying to get across, right? Nobody thought I was actually trying to say bad hair day and went and indexed that. It just was for context. And lastly, help your target audience find you. Like I said, if somebody out there looks up, I love Akron, and they see that I've posted with the hashtag I love Akron because I'm here and want to work with them, that will bring my target audience to me. So if you have questions on hashtags, please let me know, and we will move on to your company page real quick. So on your company page, you can see how many followers someone has. You can see the hashtags that you have to choose 3 generally to follow, and there are mine. That makes sense for my business, right? You can see what posts my company is making versus the ones I make on my page. A lot of times it will be the same content. And you can invite connections to follow your company page. Know this, you can only invite people with whom you are already connected to follow your page. That doesn't mean, excuse me, I'm getting hiccups, that somebody can't just come across your page and follow you. They can. It's absolutely open to the public, but you are only allowed to invite folks to connect to your company page if you're already a connection with me personally, right? So I'm not able to just go out and invite Joe Schmo. They have to be a first level connection of mine to invite them to follow my company page. And then here are all your analytics. You can see how many searches have you appeared in, how many unique visitors have you had, how many new followers, how many post impressions have you gleaned. All of those things are here for you to keep track of. How many clicks, how many times have they clicked through and went to my website, right? All of these things are important. So make sure that you are keeping an eye out. Company page posts can be lots of different things. It does not always need to be a commercial for your product, service, or even for your your nonprofit's mission. It can be lots of things, right? So here's a post that I did offering a social media tip. It seems like it should be counterintuitive to give away your expertise, right? Yes and no. I like to let people, if they are able and willing to do their own social media, guess what? They're not a prospective client for me, right? If they can and will do it, they're not going to pay me to do it unless they see, wow, she's a genius. And yeah, okay, I wish that happened all the time. It's not the way that it is. So I tend to offer social media tips to point people in the right direction when they're doing these things for themselves, right? So that's just a give back to the small business community to say, hey, you can do this, and here's how you go and do it, okay? If you are speaking somewhere, if you know about an upcoming event and you want to share that, that is great fodder for your posts. Generally, you don't always even have to write the copy. You can just share it, right? You can just share it to your network and they can see. This one I happen to be speaking at, so I put it together, but you can do whatever you like with events. But that's always a great thing to put out there. It lets people know you're connected, lets them know you're trying to help them make the connections they need to make. It's just a great kind of content to put out there. National holidays, even fun stuff. Today is National Do Something Nice Day. I asked a question. I made it an interactive post. What's something you can do to help make someone's day a little bit brighter? Hey, sometimes it's just taking a couple of vegetables and putting on somebody's porch. Hey, I had some extra tomatoes. Thought maybe you could use them. Send somebody a card, whatever that looks like. And guess what? Here's the fun secret with this. I don't care what they answer. I only care that they answer. Because if somebody then answers or comments on my posts, everyone in their network will see the content. That's the secret, right? We want people to be interactive. Social media needs to be social. So make sure that a lot of times you're asking questions, you're looking for feedback, you're having a conversation. That's what makes it social. And then lastly, and this is one of my favorites too, shining the spotlight on somebody else. I don't know about you guys, it is much easier for me to talk about another company than it is to talk about my own. That is not because I don't have the passion for it. I love what I do. I love it. But I also start second guessing myself. Is this interesting? Would somebody want to read this? Hey, I've used Julia Bell seasonings and I think they're fabulous. So I am more than willing to send out a post. Hey, just a small business shout out. If you don't know about these, you need to. And I tagged Tanya in it so she knows, A, not only do I appreciate her product, I'm trying to help her grow her small business. There's nothing that people appreciate more than you trying to give them a hand up when they're already trying to do all of the right things. So I do at least 2 small business shout outs a month on my social for somebody. Could be, hey, they just had a great chocolate croissant. It could be they gave me a great service. It was nice that I had an oil change and they didn't try and sell me a bunch of other things, right? I don't care what the shout out's about. It will be appreciated by the company you're doing it for, and it will be well regarded by those in your network that you're taking the time to shine that spotlight on another company to try and help them. So just some ideas on content there. LinkedIn, getting groups and leverage them. So groups not only help you establish yourself as a professional, but it lets you learn more from the other people who are in the groups as well. This is my favorite about being in a group. And if you take anything away from the group's conversation, take this away. Joining a group gives you access to all the LinkedIn members with whom you may not be connected otherwise. That means if you're in a group with one of your prospective, clients, somebody you would love to get in front of, if you are not a first level connection with them, you cannot message them directly, right? You have to go through InMail, something like that. Not if you're a member of the same group. If you're a member of the same group, you then have access to message them directly. And I think that is a vastly underused tool and underused access that you have from using LinkedIn. So just be mindful of that. That for me is the largest reason that I get into groups. And then here's a thing. If you can't find a particular group that suits your needs, create one. That's awesome. Just know, post content that's relevant to the people that would be in this group, invite members from the managed group page. A group's only as good as its members. And I will tell you, if I see a group that's only got 3 members, I'm probably not going to use that as one of my selections for a group, right? I need to get in front of some people. So make sure if you're going to make a group, make sure that you populate it as well and that you're constantly posting content in there. Because why would they stay? If I'm not getting anything from the group, maybe I drop that and go to another one. Just a heads up. I'm going to buzz through these real quick in the interest of time. Just more facts about LinkedIn groups and how you can use those. They will be in the presentation that Laura will send you. So this is nothing we need to go through one by one, other than to reiterate that last one there, level connection with fellow group members is first level. That is awesome to me, and we should all be using it more. So here's an overview. You can see your groups. You can see the ones with whom you've requested to be a member. You do have to be approved for some. And then if you want to make your own group, here's where that button is. Okay. Set aside time to work LinkedIn. Okay. Create an appointment in your calendar and you see what's in bold there. Stick to it. I promise you, you will see the ROI, the return on your investment for the time that you spend on LinkedIn. Write down your goals for the week. Do you want to connect with 20 more people? Do you want to update your cover art? Do you want to book one more appointment? Have one more conversation, whatever that is. Have your KPIs, your key performance indicators to let you know, yes, okay, I've accomplished what I want to do on LinkedIn. But you can't know that if you don't know what the goal is going in, right? So have that in mind before you take whatever time you set aside. I know people that set aside a whole day a week just to be on LinkedIn. There was a time I was on LinkedIn a minimum of 40 hours per week. It was a full-time gig for me. So just know, it can be 1 hour, it can be 40 hours. It's whatever works for you, okay? Find an accountability partner. Find somebody else that really wants to use LinkedIn, but maybe they're not taking advantage of what they should, right? Keep each other accountable. Hey, did you make your connections? Did you get your 20 new connections? Hey, did you update your, whatever? Did you get an appointment? Have somebody that you can be accountable to, because as many of us are solopreneurs, we don't have people to hold us accountable. We need to seek that outside of our workplace. So just a heads up there. Get this question a lot. What is the best time to post on LinkedIn? So here's the big secret. The best time to post is when your target market is active on LinkedIn. That sounds like it should just be intuitive, but it isn't, right? So if your target market is manufacturers and they're actually on the manufacturing floor from 9 to 5, they're probably not reading your content from 9 to 5, right? If you have people that don't work weekends, they're probably not on LinkedIn on the weekends. I am, but I'm a LinkedIn nerd. I'm willing to bet that more than 50% of the people on this webinar are not on LinkedIn on the weekends. So just be mindful of that. I will tell you, sorry, I hit the wrong button. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to get out of here. Sorry, guys. Okay, let me stop this share. I'm gonna go back. See what happens when I hit the wrong thing. There we go. And I am trying to turn off my video. Laura, is that something you can help with?
What's wrong? I didn't.
Is my video off?
Yeah.
Okay. I had accidentally hit the video
Oh.
and I showed up on
Nope.
there.
Now you're on. You are
Okay,
on. So
perfect.
sorry.
Okay, so let me go down and find where I was. Sorry, you guys, technical difficulties, all my fault.
You are on camera. I don't know how you did that.
I don't know either, but let me hang on just a
You look
second.
good.
Hey, thanks. I have no makeup on because I knew I wasn't going to be. It's not giving me a selection to shut it off.
That's weird.
It is weird.
Yeah,
Is it
now
off
you're
now? I think I got it.
You're gone.
All right, bye all. Okay, now back to
Oh,
this.
oh my gosh, you're back on.
Hold on. Am I off now?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
yes.
at least I remembered how to do it. Okay, perfect. I was looking for the on off button, and when it's on a screen like this, I can't see it. So sorry about that, you guys. Okay, back to the slideshow here. Okay, so what I will say is I don't know that I believe fully that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the best days. They probably are. Because guess what? If you're like me, I'm busy on Monday and I'm kind of checking out on Friday. But what I will say is I believe the worst days in general are Saturday, Sunday. So just a heads up there if you're trying to figure it out. That one I will put stock in. And then here's the other big question. How often should I post? As often as your market will bear. And I always give this example. I was doing a social media audit for a company one time, and I went in and found out that one of their competitors was posting an average, that's an average, of 27 times a day across all platforms. That to me just about, made my chest tighten, and it wasn't even me doing it. They had over 30,000 followers. I will tell you, this was on Facebook, 30,000 followers, and would get 1 to 2 likes on every post. Why? Because it was like trying to drink from a fire hose, right? They were being overwhelmed with content. They didn't know where to start liking. So I will say the only way to know this is to do some reconnaissance and see, if I post 3 times a week, I get this kind of response. If I'm posting 5 or 6, this is where I'm at. So do some A/B testing to see what works for you, right? Start with try posting daily or, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and see what that looks like. Go for quality versus quantity. It's not about how often you post as much as it is about what you are posting. And keep an eye on your results. How will you ever know what's working if you don't watch and see what kind of feedback you're getting from your followers? So make sure you're doing that. And then I get, Heather, this all sounds great. I believe everything you're saying. How do I get it all done? Because I only have 752 other things that I need to do. This is what I suggest. You make a social media posting calendar and automate it. You can go to any one of these platforms and schedule ahead. You can also schedule inside of each platform itself. I don't do that because when I post to 8 different platforms and I'm not going into 8 of them to schedule. I have a third-party posting program that I use. Any one of these will do this for you as well. I will tell you, you definitely need to be posting your content to Google. So make sure that whatever platform you use has the capabilities of posting to your Google business profile. That's the only caveat I will give you there. Here's the tool we talked about that I said that I would tell you how you can make those headers for LinkedIn, all of the fun stuff. Canva is amazing. It is 100% cost effective. You can use it for free. I'm one of those people who wants all the bells and whistles and all the tools, and I promise you, it will be the smartest $119 you spend every year if you upgrade to Canva Pro. That means you have every tool at your fingertips. Canva free, they limit you. You can only use a certain number of pictures. You can only use a certain kind of pictures. You don't get the resize tool. There's lots of reasons to upgrade. You're talking less than 10 bucks a month. Honestly, invest that in your business. Canva is awesome for making any kind of graphic, sign, flyer, website, anything you can think of. And I say this free of heart because I do not get kickbacks from Canva. I'm just a raving fan. I always joke that I'm getting a Canva tattoo as soon as they start giving them out. Canva for Teams, if you have several people that you want to be able to design with your particular brand kit, which is again another tool you only get as a pro, is only $300 per year for the first 3 or 5 seats that you have available. And here's the best part. I don't know if anybody on the call is in a nonprofit, but if you are, and you fill out one form that takes about 5 minutes, you can actually have Canva Pro absolutely free, just for filling out the form and giving them the info. So just a heads up there, teachers also get Canva. And I will tell you this, our first graders that are in school right now are learning how to use Canva. That's what an awesome tool this is. They're all learning how to make graphics and signs and whiteboards and websites with this platform. It is amazing. So when you go there, you'll see things like, oops, hold on, let me go back again. There we go. You can see LinkedIn banner is one of the templates right on the website. So make sure you're using this tool, okay? Here is my contact info. Make sure you take a screenshot of it. You should get it in an email. I'm happy to set up a virtual coffee with you, answer any questions that you have, learn more about your business, and I implore you, find me on LinkedIn. I am happy to connect with you, and then you'll get to see all the webinars and all of the things and get all the tips. And please know you can reach out to me anytime. Phone is usually the most difficult way to get me because I'm usually networking or running around, but you can always text me to that number or you can email me and I'm happy to answer. So I will take any questions you guys have now.
All right, let's see here. So you can have a company page and a business page?
That's the same thing. The company page is a business page. You can have a company page and a personal LinkedIn profile. Those are the 2 items you should have.
Does your picture open you to being harassed or followed?
Anything you ever do on the internet everywhere opens you to that. It does. I can tell you I have been on LinkedIn for, I want to say since 2007. Is that right? I think it's 2007. I was an early adopter, loved it. I have never suffered the slings and arrows of being targeted or anything like that on LinkedIn at all. Again, it's just not the place that those kinds of people tend to go. So just know that anytime you put anything anywhere, it opens you to all kinds of things happening. I have just never had that experience on LinkedIn ever.
That is, did I read this to you yet? Where did you type the hashtag in?
You did not, but if
Okay.
that person wants to reach out to me, I can send you a screenshot of where that is. It's in the search tool.
Oh, the last question's clarifying. I'm sorry, I meant a personal page and a business page.
Yes. Yes, you definitely want to have a personal profile for yourself as well as a company page for your company. Yes, you need both of those things to be effective, for sure.
That is all the questions that are here.
All right. Well, thanks, you guys. You know what's going to happen, and it happens every time. You're going to be 20 minutes from now and go, shoot, I wish I'd have asked that. That's why you have the email address. So make sure you screenshot that. You can email me. And if you would like to set up a virtual coffee, I would love to do that. And in an effort to get to know your business, answer any questions you have, that half hour is yours. You're providing all of the content. I'm just answering your questions. So thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. This is always a fun webinar. I love talking about LinkedIn, and I appreciate you giving me the platform to do that.
All right. Actually, I have one last question for you.
Oh, yes.
Okay. What is the main reason you use groups?
The main reason I use groups is because it gives me first level access to everyone who is in that group as a member. That's why I use groups. Everybody uses them for a different reason, right? Everybody has a different reason to be on LinkedIn. They have a different reason to be on social. When it comes to me, if you're asking me that in particular, that's the functionality of the group I like best. And yes, I also like to post things in the group that would establish me as a professional, but I feel like I'm using that more to target prospects than I am just kind of throwing out information to kind of blanket the entire group with my info. That's me.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. You will receive an email from me later today with the recording as well as the PowerPoint that goes along with this. There'll be a couple links if you want to look at other available workshops and request a mentor. So Heather, thank you again for helping us out today. Appreciate all the info.
So
And
happy to do it. And again, I apologize for the whole video interruption. I sometimes that mouse goes crazy.
we're just humans, right?
We are. And actually, you got to see me as one today. I'm not
I
just
know,
a
I got to
voice.
see you. All right, everybody, have a good weekend.
Bye bye.